So, I had a premise, kind of half forget what it was. I got distracted today, fending off some nonsense on Facebook thread. But anyway, I think I had wanted to read spooky stories, and I thought, what better way to do that than, read something about witchcraft, or even better, read something from maybe, that's kind of tropish already. A lot of people like to read The Raven, or Down into the Maelstrom, or, one of the other classics from Poe on Halloween, but that's tired out. I'm not going to do that. The other thing you could do is read different things about dystopias, different dystopias that that's bad. Yeah, okay. You could read from any number of spooky or books or things that contain forbidden knowledge. That's all part of the tradition of Halloween. I thought I might break with tradition, though, and read from some modern incantations of that sort. I need to adjust the atmosphere for this. So basically, one of the scariest things you can ever do, or one of the scariest things you can ever do is read incantations and forbidden knowledge directly from the source. And this is the first edition paperback of Robert's Rules of Orders. Robert's Rules of Order. First published in 1967. Shouldn't let this fall into the wrong hands, because it can really ruin your day. It's from the original 1893 edition, actually. It's the first paperback edition, but it's from the original 1893 edition of the famous manual of it's parliamentary procedure, which has got an updated modern guide and commentary authored by Rachel Vixman. It's the president of the New York Metropolitan Chapter of the American Institute of Parliamentarians. So, I don't know. This is the 1967 edition. There's a lot of sexist language in here, but whatever. It still has the roots of the incantations that is the subject of this spooky Halloween-themed whatever. Let's just get to it. This is stupid. So, if you're going to be a member of an organization or participate in or be employed by a non-profit organization of any kind, at some point you're going to need to invoke some of the incantations contained here in this book of forbidden knowledge. You're going to have to know the rules, or else people are just going to be able to fool you. And, you don't want that to happen. Nobody wants that to happen. If you have a point to make, and you even step just a little bit out of line, they're going to pull this up. So you better know the rules, or they'll shut you smooth down. And, so yeah. So we'll just start by reading some of these incantations, the forbidden knowledge contained in Robert's Rules of Order. Really terrifying stuff. You shouldn't let this fall into the wrong hands. It's really, a lot of bad things could happen. You can unleash malevolent entities, all kinds of things can result of from the invocation of procedure, parliamentary procedure. Article 7, motions. 55. Motions classified according to their object. Instead of immediately adopting or rejecting a resolution as originally submitted, it may be desirable to dispose of it in some other way. And for this purpose, various motions have come into use, which can be made while a resolution is being considered, and for the time being supersede it. No one can make any of these motions while another member has the floor, except as shown in the table of rules. The circumstances under which each motion can be made are shown in the order, the precedence of motions on page 14. When a motion has been recognized by the chair as pending, it must not be withdrawn. It must be disposed of by a vote unless the meeting adjourns while it is still pending. It may be interrupted by motions having precedence of it, but as soon as they are acted on, if this motion does not dispose of the original question, then the consideration of that question is resumed without any new motion being made. The following list comprises most of these motions, arranged in 8 classes according to the object for which each motion is used. The motions classified according to their object are as follows. Number 1, to modify or amend. You have 2 options here. You can amend it, or you can commit or refer it. No, it's 3 options, but whatever. Number 2, you can defer action. You can postpone it. What is that? What kind of evil have I unleashed? Oh no! Okay, whatever. Back to the second item. Second option. You can defer action. Yeah, which you can do this by postponing to a certain time, or you can table it. Well, this is in the 1967 version, so it says lay on the table, but ordinarily you just say you're going to table it, but this says lay on the table, whatever. Number 3. Suppress debate. You can call, in order to do this, you can call the previous question, or you can invoke an order limiting or closing debate. Number 4, you can suppress the question. You can make a motion objecting to its consideration. You can postpone indefinitely or lay on the table in this instance. You can consider a question for the second time, and you can make a motion to reconsider. Number 6, you can make a motion. The orders of the day. To hear the orders of the day, I guess. Special order, suspension of the rules, questions of order, appeal, whatever. Miscellaneous, reading the papers, withdrawal of the motion, questions of privilege. You can move to close the meeting, fix the time at which time to adjourn, and you just make a motion to adjourn. And then basically, those are the eight basic incantations you can use to whatever. Ascertain the propriety of adopting an amendment. This amendment can be amended. Wait, no? Yeah, this amendment can be amended, but an amendment cannot be amended. Whoa! Ponder that. None of the undebatable motions mentioned in subsection 35, except to fix the time in which to adjourn, to extend the limits of a debate, and to close or limit debate, can be amended. Nor can the motion to postpone indefinitely. Commit or refer. It is if the original question is not well digested or needs motion to defer action. Postpone to a certain time. If it is desired to defer action upon a question until a particular time, the proper motion is to make a postponement to that time. The motion allows of a limited debate, which must be confined to the propriety of the postponement to that time. This is really truncated writing. It can be amended by altering the time, and this amendment allows of the same debate. The time specified must not be beyond that session of the assembly, except it be the next session, in which case it comes up with the unfinished business of the next session. This motion can be made when a motion to amend or to commit or to postpone indefinitely is pending. Instead of postponing a question to a particular time, it may be desired to lay it aside temporarily until some other question is disposed of, retaining the privilege of resuming its consideration at any time. The only way to accomplish this is to move that the question lie on the table. This motion, allowing of neither debate nor amendment, the chairman immediately puts to the question. If carried, the whole matter is laid aside till the assembly vote to take it from the table, which latter motion is undebatable and possesses no privilege. Sometimes this motion is used to suppress a measure, as shown in subsection 59C. Scary. Spooky. To suppress debate. Don't let this fall into the wrong hands. This cause a lot of problems if this kind of thing falls into the wrong hands. Don't let this happen. I shouldn't be doing this. This is like reading passages from the Necronomicon. You're unleashing malevolent entities into the world by doing this. Robert's Rules of Order should never have been made available to the lower classes, members of the lower classes like myself. Is this just, it's bad. Should never have been allowed to happen. This should have been maintained as priestly knowledge or something. Doesn't matter. To suppress debate, previous questions. While as a general rule, free debate is allowed upon every motion, which, if adopted, has the effect of adopting the original question or removing it from before the assembly for the session. Yet, to prevent a minority from making an improper use of this privilege, it is necessary to have methods by which debate can be closed and final action can at once be taken upon a question. To accomplish this, when any debatable question is before the assembly, it is only necessary for someone to obtain the floor and call for the previous question. This call being seconded, the chairman, as it allows of no debate, instantly puts the question thus: shall the main question now be put? If this is carried by a 2/3 vote, all debate instantly ceases, excepting that in the case of the pending measure has been reported from a committee, the member reporting it is, and is in all other cases, entitled to the floor to close the debate. After which, the chairman immediately puts the questions to the assembly. First on the motion to commit, if it is pending, and if this is carried, of course, the subject goes to the committee. If, however, it fails, the vote is next taken. Carrying on here, if a if a motion to postpone, either definitely or indefinitely, or a motion to reconsider or an appeal is pending, the previous question is exhausted by the vote on the postponement, reconsideration, or appeal, and does not cut off debate upon any other motions that may be pending. If the call for the previous question fails, that is, the debate is not cut off, the debate continues, the same as if this motion had not been made. The previous question can be called for simply on an amendment. And after the amendment has been acted upon, the main question is again open to debate. Keep that one in mind. You got to make a note of that one. Yeah. An order limiting or closing debate. Sometimes, instead of cutting off debate entirely, by ordering the previous question, is desirable to allow a very limited debate. In the case of a motion, it is made to limit the time allowed each speaker or the number of speeches on each side, or to appoint a time at which debate shall close and the question be put. The motion may be made to limit debate on an amendment, in which case the main question would afterwards be open to debate and amendment. Or it may be made simply on an amendment of an amendment. In ordinary societies where harmony is so important, a 2/3 vote should be required for the adoption of any of the above motions to cut off or limit debate. Section 59. To suppress the question. Objections to the consideration of a question. Sometimes a resolution is introduced that the Assembly does not wish to consider at all because it is profitless or irrelevant to the objects of the Assembly or for any other reasons. The proper course to pursue in such cases is for someone, as soon as it is introduced, to object to the consideration of the question. This objection not requiring a second, the chairman immediately puts the question, will the Assembly consider this question? If decided in the negative by a 2/3 vote, the question is immediately dismissed and cannot be again introduced during that session. This objection must be made when the question is first introduced, before it has been debated, and it can be made when another member has the floor. Spooky stuff. Robert's Rules of Orders. What could be scarier on All Hallows Eve? What could be scarier? What could be more spooky than reading modern, what did I say earlier? Incantations? Is that the word? I don't know. Incantations. I mean, we can go back to reading. Passages from Poe. You know, like I said, we're not going to do the Raven. That's worn out. Just if you really want to hear a good version of Poe's Raven, Google the Christopher Lee version. That's really good. Christopher Lee reading The Raven. It's great. I recommend it highly. On witchcraft, I misplaced my copy of the Necronomicon, or we could be reading all kinds of things that would summon evil spirits, but instead, what we're stuck with is Robert's Rules. And that's what we've got. It's the scariest thing I could find. It's a manual for conjuring up this thing called parliamentary procedure, which is used at I don't know. How would I describe this to someone who's never been there? I don't know. What did we cover? Did we cover postpone indefinitely? Yes. Postpone indefinitely. After the question has been debated, the only proper way to suppress it for the session is to vote it down or to postpone it indefinitely. Both of which have the same effect. If the motion to indefinitely postpone is lost, there is still an opportunity for defeating the resolution. It cannot be made while any motion except the original or main question is pending, but it can be made after an amendment has been acted upon, and the main question as amended is therefore before the assembly. It opens the merits of the main question to debate to as great an extent as if the main question were before the assembly, and therefore it is necessary also to move to the previous question in order to cut off debate and bring the assembly to immediate vote, just the same as if the question were on the adoption of the resolution to begin with. If there is no possibility during the remainder of the session of obtaining a majority vote or taking up the question, then the quickest way of suppressing it is to move, to lay the question on the table, which, allowing if no debate, enables the majority of the instantly lay down the question on the table, from which cannot be taken without their consent. From its high ranks and debatable character, this motion is very commonly used to suppress a question, which, as shown in subsection 57b, is to the effect of merely to lay the question on the side until the assembly chooses to consider it, and only suppresses the question as long as there is a majority opposed to its consideration. You can make a motion to consider a question a second time, which is a motion to reconsider. And when a question has been once adopted and rejected or suppressed, it cannot be again considered during that same session except by a motion to reconsider the vote. And on that question, as you always do this, you get to keep this in mind. Make a motion to reconsider if you need to. This motion can only be made by one who voted on the prevailing side, and on the day of the vote that was taken, which it was proposed to reconsider on the next succeeding day, it can be made and entered into the minutes in the midst of debate, even when another member has the floor, but it cannot be reconsidered until there is no question before the assembly, when, if called up, it takes precedence of every motion except to adjourn and to fix the time to which the assembly shall adjourn. A motion to reconsider a vote is on a debatable question, opens up debate to the entire merits of the original motion. If the questions to be reconsidered is undebatable, then the reconsideration is undebatable. If the motion to reconsider is carried, the chairman announces that the question now recurs on the adoption of the question of the vote on which it has been just reconsidered. The original question is now in exactly the same condition that it was before the first vote was taken on its adoption and must be disposed of by the same vote. When a motion to consider is entered on the minutes, it need not be called up by the mover until the next meeting on a succeeding day. If he fails to call it up, then anyone else can do so. But should there be no succeeding meeting, either adjourned or regular, within a month, then the effect of the motion to reconsider terminates with the adjournment of the meeting at which it was made, and anyone can call it up at that meeting. And no general motion except to adjourn that has been acted upon can again be considered during the same session, except by the motion to reconsider. The motion to adjourn can be renewed if there has been progress in the business or debate and it cannot be reconsidered. But if this rule does not prevent the renewal of any of the motions mentioned in subsection 7, provided the question before the assembly has in any way changed. For in this case, while the motions are nominally the same, they are in fact different. This is by far the most terrifying example of incantations I've ever read. You know, you can say what you want about the Satanic Bible or books about witchcraft or the Necronomicon, whatever this shit is, forbidden knowledge, but this is by far the most terrifying example. Yeah. Don't let this fall into the wrong hands. That's the point. Order and rules. 61A. Orders of the day. Sometimes an assembly decides that certain questions shall be considered at a particular time, and when that time arrives, those questions constitute what is termed the orders of the day. And if any member calls for the orders of the day as it requires no second, the chairman immediately puts the question thus: will the assembly now proceed to the orders of the day? If carried, the subject under consideration is laid aside and questions appointed for that time are taken up. This is basically a way to derail something that's already got the ball rolling on it, whatever. When the time arrives, the chairman may state the fact that to put the above question without waiting for a motion, or he can announce the orders of the day without taking any vote, just whatever, just throws everything off the rails. That's how you do this, I guess. A special order: if a subject is of such importance that it is desired to consider it at a special time, in preference to the orders of the day and established order of business, then a motion should be made to make the question a special order for that particular time. This motion requires a two-thirds vote for its adoption, because it is really a suspension of the rules, and it is in order whenever a motion to suspend the rules is in order. If a subject is a special order for a particular day, then on that day it supersedes all business except the reading of the minutes. Special order can be proposed by a majority vote. If two special orders are made for the same day, the first one made takes precedence. Whoa. Okay. Miscellaneous, questions of order, appeal, close the meeting, fix the time to which to adjourn. What else? There's a lot of spooky shit here. So incredibly spooky. So incredibly spooky. Okay. Article 8, miscellaneous. 64, debate. We'll come back. All the tap water you can drink. Too much democracy. Much too much democracy. Picking up where we left off. Picking up where we left off. God. Picking up where we left off. Ah. I think we should probably skip ahead here. Ugh. I don't know. This is a good one. This is part 3, miscellaneous. Section 66, covering the right of deliberative assemblies to punish their members. A deliberative assembly has the inherent right to make and enforce its own laws and punish an offender. The extreme penalty, however, being expulsion from its own body. When expelled, if the assembly is a permanent society, it has a right, for its own protection, to give public notice that the person has ceased to be a member of that society. But it has no right to go beyond what is necessary for self-protection and to publish the charges against the member. In a case where the member of a society was expelled and an officer of the society published by their order a statement of the grave charges upon which he had been found guilty, the expelled member recovered damages from the officer. In a suit for libel, the court holding that truth of the charges did not affect the case. The right of an assembly to eject any one of its place of meeting. I don't know. The right of an assembly to eject anyone from its place of meeting. Every deliberative assembly has the right to decide who may be present during its session, and when the assembly, either by rule or by vote, decides that a certain person shall not remain in the room. It is the duty of the chairman to enforce the rule or order, using whatever force is necessary to eject the party. The chairman can detail members to remove the person without calling upon the police. If, however, in enforcing the order, anyone uses harsher treatment than is necessary to remove the person, the courts have held that he and he alone is liable to prosecution, just the same as a policeman would be under similar circumstances. However badly the man may be abused while being removed from the room, neither the chairman nor the society are liable for the damages, as in ordering his removal, they did not exceed their legal rights. Section 69, trial of members of societies. Every deliberative assembly, having the right to purify its own body, must therefore have the right to investigate the character of its members, can require any of them to testify in the case under pain of expulsion if they refuse. When the charge is against the member's character, it is usually referred to a committee of investigation or discipline, or to some standing committee to report upon. Some societies have standing committees whose duty it is to report cases for discipline whenever any are known to them. In either case, the committee investigates the matter or reports to the society. This report need not go into details, but should contain their recommendations as to the what action the society should take, and should usually close with resolutions covering the case, so that there's no need for anyone to offer any additional resolutions upon it. The ordinary resolutions where the member is recommended to be expelled are 1, to fix the time to which the society shall adjourn, and 2, instruct the clerk to cite the member to appear before the society at this adjourned meeting to show cause as to why he should or should not be expelled upon the following charges, which should then be given after the charges are preferred against a member. The assembly is ordered that he be cited to appear for trial, and he is theoretically under arrest and is deprived of all the rights of membership until his case is disposed of. And without his consent, no member should be tried at the same meeting at which the charges are preferred, excepting when the charges relate to something done in that meeting. The clerk should send the accused a written notice to appear before the society at a time appointed, and should at the time furnish him with a copy of the charges. Failure to obey the summons is generally cause enough for some summary expulsion. At the appointed meeting, what may be called the trial takes place. Frequently, the only evidence required against the member is the report of the committee. After it has been read and any additional evidence offered, the committee may see fit to introduce. The accused should be allowed to make an explanation and introduce witnesses if he so desires. Either party should be allowed to cross-examine the other's witness and introduce rebutting testimony. When the evidence is in, the accused shall retire from the room, and the society will deliberate upon the question and finally act by a vote. On the question of the expulsion or the punishment proposed, no member should be expelled by less than a 2/3 vote, a quorum voting. In acting upon the case, it must be borne in mind that there is a vast distinction between the evidence necessary to convict in a civil court and that required to convict in an ordinary society or ecclesiastical body. Notorious pickpocket could not even be arrested, much less convicted by a civil court, simply on the ground of being commonly known as a pickpocket. While such evidence would convict and expel him from an ordinary society, the moral conviction of the truth of the charge is all that is necessary in an ecclesiastical or other deliberative body. To find the accused guilty of the charges of the trial is liable to be long and troublesome or of a very delicate nature. The members frequently cited to appear before a committee instead of a society for trial. In this case, the committee reports to society the result of their trial in the case, the resolutions covering the punishment which they are recommended to the society to adopt, and when this committee's report is read, the accused should be permitted to make his statement of the case, the committee being allowed to reply. The accused then retires from the room, and the society acts upon the resolution submitted by the committee. The members of the committee should vote upon the case, and the same as other members. If the accused wishes counsel at his trial, it is usual to allow it, provided the counsel is a member of the society in good standing. Should the counsel be guilty of improper conduct during the trial, the society can refuse to hear him, can also punish him. Section 70, Call of the House. The object of a call of the House is to compel the attendance of absent members and is allowable only in assemblies that have the power to compel attendance of absentees. It is usual to provide that when no quorum is present, a small number, 1/5 of the members of the elected Congress, can order a call of the House. To prevent this privilege from being used improperly, it is well to provide that when the call is made, the members cannot adjourn or dispense with further proceedings in the call until a quorum is obtained. The rule, like the following, would answer for city councils or other similar bodies that have the power to enforce attendance. Rules: with no quorum, when no quorum is present, members may order a call of the House and compel attendance of absent members after the call is ordered. Motion to adjourn or to dispense with further proceedings in the call cannot be entertained until a quorum is present or until Sergeant at Arms reports that it is his opinion no quorum can be attained on that day. If no quorum is present and the call of the House takes precedence of everything, even reading the minutes, except the motion to adjourn, and only requires in its favor the number of specified in the rule. If quorum is present, the call should rank with questions of privilege, require a majority vote for its adoption, and if rejected, it should be renewed while a quorum is present at that meeting. After a call is ordered until further proceedings, the call are dispensed with. No motion in order except to adjourn, a motion relating to the call, so that a recess could not be taken by unanimous consent. Adjournment puts an end to all the proceedings in the call, except that the assembly before the adjournment, if the quorum is present, can order such members that are already arrested and make their excuses at an adjourned meeting. Proceedings in a call of the House. When a call is ordered, the clerk calls the roll of members alphabetically, noting the absentees. He calls over again the names of absentees. When excuses he can be made after the doors are locked, no one being permitted to leave. In order to form the following is adopted: the Sergeant at Arms take into custody and bring to the bar of the House such of its members as are absent without leave of the House. Warrants signed by the presiding officer and attested to by the clerk, with a list of the absentees attached, is then given to the Sergeant at Arms, who immediately proceeds to arrest the absentees. When he appears with members under arrest, he proceeds to the chairman's desk, being announced by the doorkeeper in large bodies, followed by the arrested members, and makes his return. The chairman arraigns each member separately and asks what excuse he has to offer for being absent from the sittings of the assembly without its leave. The member states his excuse. A motion is made that he be discharged from custody and admitted to the seat, either without payment or fees or after paying the fees, until a member has paid the fees assessed against him. He cannot vote or be recognized by the chair for any purpose.